Hello and welcome to another episode of the podcast. And I am here with
KenArashi, how's it going, pals? It's good to see you. Good to hear from you. And we're
the
here to yap about a certain uh, Hoyoverse video game. Are we not?
the old one, the
Yeah.
the known one, not Honkai Impact.
I was gonna say oh, is this secretly a Honkai Impact third one?
That would be
Because
awesome awful because I have actually never played Honkai Impact Third.
I did play a tiny bit of Honkai Impact third. It wasn't like it was kind of cool. It was doing like Devil May Cry stuff on like mobile gaming platforms kind of before that became like the popular thing. Like,
For the first time I heard about Genshin Impact, I was not interested because I was not interested in gacha. The moment that it rang a bell was when I started to hear Breath of the Wild knockoff.
yeah.
That is when it started. Because I don't have a Switch, nor am I
Yeah.
have any chance of getting to one. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna play the next best thing because it's
Yeah, I
free.
remember the popular term for it was Breath of the Waifu.
Oh yeah, Breath of the Wild. I remember that now. But I wasn't very enthusiastic about collecting people. Yeah.
So
I
to
feel
explain a bit of my like history with Genshin, I was heavy into it. Like I played every day since release, and I fell off once a tiny bit, just before like Inazuma came out. I was gone for like 2 weeks before Inazuma came out because I was just kind of bored. There was nothing to do in the game. Um, and then like when Inazuma came out, I was back on it immediately. And yeah, so what happened essentially was just I was just heavy into it. Like I was pulling for every character. I had a full character archive up until just after the beginning of Sumeru. Like I think the last characters I like pulled for and got were the oh my god, what is the name of the Dendro Archer dude? Who the voice actor got revealed to be doing some not good stuff.
Yeah, we don't talk about him. Tainari. I think you're referring about Tainari.
Yeah. I pulled for and got Tainari and his weapon, and like I played a tiny bit of Sumeru, and then I was just like, I'm just not having fun anymore, dude. Like,
It's really sad because Sumeru just goes wild with the story.
really? See, like I've heard a lot of people fall off around Sumeru time. Like
Yeah,
they
because
get Sumeru and they just kind of bounce off.
slow. It starts slow
Mm,
before it just goes boom. But it has
yeah.
definitely, though it doesn't hold a candle to the recent arc of Fontaine, which would be
Oh,
great if there weren't huge swaths of time where absolutely nothing of interest happens.
yeah. I mean, like that's the loop of. I mean, like I feel like they should have started with more areas available. Like if they started with like at least Mondstadt, Liyue, Inazuma, and maybe Sumeru available, then that would give people a lot more stuff to do. But like I can kind of see how, because like I was at the point where I'd hit the end of Liyue and I had nothing to do but artifact grind and optimize the fun out of the game. Because Hoyoverse absolutely hates their players and make things where you have to kind of optimize your build to be like able to just fight regular enemies at this point in the game.
Yeah, I have
Um,
a theory regarding that has. Well, it's not that Hoyoverse hating its players, it's Hoyoverse liking a certain type of players more than the
yeah,
other. If
yeah,
if
and
you
like
catch my drift.
yeah, the big ol' whales. But like those types of people are definitely also the types of people who go in and absolutely destroy Spiral Abyss within like 5 seconds with some like insane stuff that they've spent like 10 years in game time to just. It's just not fun. Like the idea of doing a combat challenge to like unlock like random equipment is kind of cool, but having to do the same one over and over and over and over and over again is absolutely god awful. And like the fact that Hoyoverse, like, it's been what? How many years since the game released? Was it like 2020, 2019?
Now
What
hold
did
on,
it?
we
Let
can
me look
calculate
this up.
how many countries there are. So there are like 5, so it's been about 5 years.
5 years. So it's been 5 years since Genshin Impact released, and Hoyoverse are still allowing a pyro-focused artifact set to drop with a main stat of hydro damage percent. Like, that's white,
Just
absolutely dog trash. Like, terrible, awful.
I just feel like you were having like like a war flashbacks.
Little bit. Like, it's so frustrating sometimes because like the reason I say Hoyoverse like hates their players is like it's a thing that I always go into on my streams when I encounter something that is really badly designed, or a thing that is just basically trying to extort time out of the player and not respecting the player's time. Where basically it's like, why not allow people to spend maybe an extra 10 resin when doing a combat challenge to just skip the combat challenge and get the rewards if they've already proven that they can do it? Because it's a pointless thing, and there's like, the quote-unquote gameplay is so mind-numbing, boring,
or
and
maybe
just
have a quota.
exhausting.
Okay, just do it, I don't know, 20 times to prove that you definitely can do it. And once
Yeah.
you hit the quota, just not have to do it anymore. You can just come and spend resin, get yourself and get out.
Like,
They
the
try to
analogy I would
circumvent this by having the system where you can trade in other stuff, but you still have to grind.
But that only got added in late Inazuma, like really late Inazuma, like just before Sumeru, I think. They added the basic one, which only allows you to trade for like the basic artifact sets that you can
Yeah,
get.
and I think
So
at
you
the
still
end of
can get, like, the
Sumeru, they
specified
added
one.
the latest ones.
Yeah.
A new
So
wave
like
of
they're
them.
only just learning from their catastrophic mistake long after players like me, who, like, I'm AR59 and I have a full character archive, so I
Hey, I'm
spent a fair
58.
amount
Let's
of
go.
like, I spent a fair amount of money on the game, and that shit burnt me out, man. Like, I got
I didn't
exhausted.
spend that much, but I have to say I did go through my passion phase for Genshin, where I really, really appreciate to get my side of the story. The first time I started playing the game, my mind was blown. Okay, the idea that you see that place is not just a cardboard. You can actually go there. You see like
Yeah.
an interesting hill. You can actually go there. The
Well,
first time because I didn't play Breath of the Wild, okay? Me no money.
yeah.
So for me, Genshin was a cool game, visual wise, and the story Monsets is very, very weak. But I got fascinated by the amount of passion that were for side characters, or they were at the time, because in the meantime, oh boy, boy, because my issue is with the story and the characters. I
Yeah.
can grind the out of anything if I have a passion for the story. I can bypass the grindiness and the like mindless slaughter of innocent villagers. Sorry, there's gonna be noises in my recordings. I live share. Back to our little Genshin sheep. The issue I have and the burnout that I suffer was, it was one of the islands return where it was Kazuha, that little weirdo, what's her name, Fischl, and I think Xianlin, something like that.
Oh yeah.
And with all respect to Kazuha, that shit was fucking boring as hell. Like, it literally single-handedly gave me burnout because it was so much text, so much pointless stuff that you
Yeah.
already know if you just do his story quests. It didn't go in depth into it. It just didn't do anything. You already know this stuff from either Kazuha's side of the story or, spoiler alert, Wanderer's side of the story.
Yeah.
And it was so dragged out, so it seems so pointless to me, so boring, especially since, no offense, but I personally do not like Kazuha. He's way too mellow for me. I need more hyperactivity in my life. More, I don't know.
Maybe that's why they
intrigue.
paired him with Fischl and Shangling, because they can wake his lethargic ass up.
Yeah,
I like Kazuha as a
the problem
character.
is they split up,
Yeah,
and it was just you and Kazuha, so it was still boring as fuck.
That's fair. Like, I don't know. Some of the story, like some of the character-based story stuff, I don't mind it kind of spinning its wheels a little bit, because there was some cool stuff in that part, like with Kazuha's like family, because that's the one where you have to like reforge the sword and stuff, right? You find out that he's from a family of blacksmiths and all this.
Yeah, I think
Was that right?
I did the story quest recently, so I do remember. Yeah, it was about the
So
haunted sword thingy.
I didn't mind that as much. The thing that I hate sometimes is Paimon. Because like every new part of story, that you can cut out like 40% of the fluff and trash, because it's like, aha, Paimon got something wrong, here's the joke about emergency food. Okay, Paimon, you're just gonna say, well, like, I understand that you need a character surrogate because the lead character doesn't speak.
Which
Obviously
is
they do have
pointless.
voice actors. Well, like, they have voice actors for the lead
which is
character.
pointless. Which is absolutely pointless, because because the story just contradicts itself at every single step. Because firstly, you have the MC that's supposed to be stand-in for you, coming from another world, blah blah blah, mysterious class, blah blah blah. You get rubbed out on this, fine, no issue whatsoever. But then you bring in, I don't know how much, lore regarding this lost sibling. And the more you go, the less it makes sense, because that's its own character. That's not you. You're not having a sibling who, I don't know, became a chess piece or whatever.
See, like some of the like
spoiler
story
alert.
stuff, I got quite deep into Genshin theory crafting, like that whole like Reddit bubble. I didn't read anything on Reddit, but like I used to like spend a lot of time with like friends on Discord who would read all that kind of stuff, and like we discuss all sorts of things, like what if it's about like perspective, and like when you both get like captured by the god at the start. The idea is that you both get put into like dream bubbles, and the entire thing was all a dream, etc. And like the character you pick is still going through their dream adventure, and the antagonist, being the other twin, is someone who's already been through their adventure and woke up and is trying to wake you up by breaking your like reality. And that's why they're causing as much damage to the world as they can through like the abyss heralds and all that kind of stuff. It's like, it is an interesting concept.
I'm not
but
sure
it's
it still stands with the new stuff that has been added, because of a few elements that make things weird.
Right.
All of this is spoiler territory, and I'm trying to keep this as spoiler free.
I mean, I'm probably not gonna. I mean, like, yeah, keep it spoiler free for people listening for sure. But like,
Yeah.
I found that like an interesting point of conjecture, but it was all stuff that Hoyoverse had. Like, the thing I found interesting about the game at that point was stuff that, stuff that the game writers hadn't written, and it was all stuff that fans had come up with almost. Because the in-game story was just 10 hours of Paimon ASMR.
Oh, you have not seen the Aranara quest. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, really?
If the quest with Kazuha didn't give me burnout, that quest sure did the trick. Oh my god, I still have not finished that quest completely.
And the thing that's sad is that like the game can be so incredible and hype. Like, I will forever remember the moment when like Kazuha's eyes glow purple and his like old friend's vision reactivates, and like he blocks the that one hit. Like, that was so cool, and like that's such an iconic and hype moment. And like the worst thing about Genshin is that it threatens to be good sometimes, but then immediately falls back into, let's go fishing, traveler. Like, I don't care. Like, give me meat.
I'm gonna reveal a thing, because it was part of an event, so it doesn't matter if it's technically a spoiler, because it's a closed event thing.
Yeah, so that's another stinky thing, is you miss out on stuff that you're never gonna see again.
Oh, I have a whole opinion on mother events. Okay, I'm gonna do a lot of bleeping. I'm gonna do a lot
Yeah,
of
there's gonna be
bleeping.
this basic.
Because the events are a whole thing. But this specific thing is I like when Genshin goes dark.
Yeah.
And there was this wannabe Pokemon event where you were basically putting shrooms to fight other shrooms. And it was
Right.
a very funny and chill and stuff and low-key boring. But the main villain was actually someone from Shaznaya, and more specifically a
Right.
member of the Fatui.
Oh my goodness.
And apparently he acted out of line, and he was working under one of the Harbingers, right? I can't reveal
Right.
who, but he was definitely working under Harbinger. And he used his power and influence to try to basically get this game going. Actually, was it this one? Or... No, it was this one. It was the one with the Pokemon. The thing is, if you stand in a certain place at a certain time, you actually find a Fatui, one of those assassins. I'm not sure they called assassin. I forgot what it called. The guys with the cloak that go invisible.
Yeah.
And later on, if you go into the same place after the event ends, not completely, but the story of the event ends, you'll find a bloody note. Well, the note's a normal note, but it says it's bloody. And basically what happened is that he requested help from Fatui, and they definitely did help him. The you don't need any help ever again kind of help. The problem solved kind of help. And that was very dark. Because basically, because they stood in the way and he didn't listen, he just straight up, offed him. And I like that because that's intrigue, that's drama, that's interesting. What's not interesting? Oh, I came back for the Lantern Ride event, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was, what's her name? I completely forgot her name. Sky Retainer? No, Cloud Retainer. There you go. And I like Cloud Retainer. A lot of people don't remember that funny quirk of hers where she tried to wipe out the entire Liyue Harbor. Good times.
Yeah.
Good times. Good times. But basically, I like her very much. Of course, when she became a playable character, that part of the character was, scrubbed away. God forbid we remember she has like a bloodthirsty. Yeah. We gonna sweep that under the rug. It never happened. She's a nice lady now, and it pissed me off. And it double pissed me off that a part of this thing was it's still an event, so I can still spoil it because it never comes back.
Yeah.
You meet with Ketching and someone else that I completely forgot about in Liyue, and they start talking about kites. Wow, what a beautiful thing kites are. It's a tradition that goes back, blah, blah, blah. I don't care.
Yeah, there's definitely like some moments like it's sweet in a way because Hoyoverse very obviously really want to portray Chinese culture in like a positive way to the rest of the world, but it just ends up not being
please
interesting.
release Beishut again. Just have her go at it. I don't know, maybe the Sea Serpent's children or something. Do something. Because this, as far as, okay, you can do one, okay? You can have it be there. It isn't the first time that a culture has been shown either from Inazuma or Liyue or so on. I'm not bothered by that. It is fascinating. But the entire event focuses on making kites.
Yeah.
And
please
I'm
appreciate Chinese
sorry.
culture, please.
I'm sorry, but that is boring as hell, and a lot of events suffer from this. In Fontaine, you go from I'm gonna spoil in Fontaine, but basically, really, really, really serious, tragic stuff happening to okay, we're gonna make a movie together, bruh. Please. It just goes from actual interesting anime level of storytelling way down to a teacup party. It's what I like to consider teacup party events,
Yeah.
because it's just free kids. Because 99% of the time it is kids characters. Yeah, rarely you get a token adult in there. And then you have these three girls, or one boy and two girls, or basically kids, just hanging around, having fun. And not much else is happening. And that is extremely, unbelievably boring. And 99% of the events are like this.
It does kind of reek of like, okay, we need to give the babies their primo gems so that they'll shut up while we continue working on the next part of the game. Just come up with something. And it's like, I don't know, kites, shadow photography.
The thing is, they cornered themselves into this because they did a mistake that few people making stuff should do. If you're out there making a comic book, a movie, a anime, cartoon, a game, please, for the love of God, do not listen to what people are saying. Because they corner themselves in this, because a lot of people have complained, and rightfully so in a way, that very important to the lore stuff was happening in events, right?
Yeah.
And
so then that makes the events have to be irrelevant.
Yeah, so they make the events have to be irrelevant. And to be relevant, they can't have nothing lore-wise can happen in the events, otherwise people will be pissed because they missed it. So what they do is they try, but because there's nothing significant happening, because they can't, they turn out boring.
Yeah. I mean, like, all of this could be fixed with a skip cutscene button, really. Rather than, like, because that's something I've always taken umbrage with in Genshin, is, like, there are so many gacha games that do it right. Like, there's a certain gacha game, I can't remember what it's called, but if you skip the cutscene, I think it was Dragalia Lost that did this, where if you skip the cutscene, it gives you a TLDR, like, short, maybe 2-3 sentences of what actually happened. Like, this person met that person, and it turns out this person actually has this as their motive, and now we're in trouble, we have to go here. Like, that's all it needs. If it is something that's actually,
imagine
like,
how fast events will be done this way.
Yeah. But then, like, allow the cutscenes and stuff to be there for the people who want to watch it, who maybe enjoy it or find it therapeutic to have someone yap for 5 hours about kites.
I mean, you have VTubers if you want to hear someone yap for.
Exactly, we're here, guys.
You can listen to my podcast.
You don't even have a 50-50 chance of getting the one you want. You can just click.
And there you go. You have your character.
There's no scenario where you click onto a Page to the Mage stream and there's a 50% chance of getting fucking GG!
You know what? I'm considering that. I can do a mad Chichi impression.
Fucking toggle when, that'd be hilarious.
And it's gonna put a Chichi PNG and like.
Yeah.
Well,
there you go, like, oop, no, you lost your 50-50, too bad. Which, okay, here's another thing that is actually a positive thing about Genshin. So I've played some Ask Gacha in my time. Like, I've played, obviously I mentioned Dragalia Lost.
Genshin was literally my first. Genshin was literally my first.
Okay, you sweet summer child. So the fact that Genshin has a pity system at all, whether or not it's extortionate, whether or not it's disgusting, with the amount of roles you have to get to pity, the fact that pity exists at all, any fake Grand Order players listening to this right now are quivering with rage over the fact that Genshin players get it
dying
so nice.
Of envy.
Yeah, because I played the fake Grand Order. I spent 300 pulls and still didn't get the character I wanted on the banner. Like, it's rough out here, and it has been real bad. So, as dark of a dark pattern as Genshin has, it's actually incredibly forgiving in terms of how gacha its gacha is.
And that is it for this episode. This is part 1 out of 3 of us talking about Genshin Impact. Links to KenArashi's channel will be in the description. Please consider liking, commenting, subscribing, and all that jazz. Thank you all for watching. Goodbye.